Welcome back to Outnumbered. Well, it looks like Democrats may be in a bit of denial, despite the fact that they now have fewer seats in Congress than they've had in nearly 80 years. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi is saying that her party is doing just fine. And when asked about how well Republicans did in the midterms, she tells Politico, quote, "I do not believe what happened the other night is a wave. There was no wave of approval for the Republicans. I wish them congratulations. They won the election, but there was no wave of approval for anybody. There was an ebb tide for us." Meanwhile,
an ebb tide.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York is defending the Democrat strategy of focusing on women's issues, saying anyone who calls it a failure is wrong. Listen.
One thing I've heard over the last few days that bothers me is that Democrats focused too much on talking to women voters. I resent the notion that we shouldn't be talked to directly and be talking directly to women about issues that we care about. The answer is not to stop talking about these issues.
All right, so she's very defensive, Sandra, because the war on women failed. We saw it fail in a number of states like Colorado. What did you think of her remarks?
I mean, so she must not been looking at the polls leading up to the election and then the exit polls that clearly showed that women's issues were very far down the list of the major concern of voters when they showed up at the polls. It was the economy that was at the top of everyone's list, and they didn't approve of this administration's handling of the U.S. economy. Kirsten, I have no other way to look at this other than that she's in just pure denial. On election night, I remember tuning in when the results were coming in, and I think you were sitting next to Juan Williams.
Yeah.
Who didn't say, "I don't think this is a wave yet."
Yeah.
And you stepped forward and you said, "No, this is a wave."
Yeah.
Wave or no wave?
Oh, it's definitely a wave. There's no question.
You mean ebb tide?
Yeah, ebb tide. No, it was definitely a wave. I mean, everybody knows that it was a wave, and I think what Kirsten Gillibrand is doing there is appealing to her base. You know, she's a New York State senator. This is the ground zero for the war on women right here. This is where it's staged. This is where they send the people out from, and so I think that that's what she's talking about. And look, I don't think anybody's saying that you shouldn't talk about women's issues. That's not what people said. What people said is you can't obsess about it the way they did, for example, in Colorado, where it got to a point where it became ridiculous, like a parody.
Yeah, they overreached.
Yeah, Senator Uterus. It is, but women's issues are the economy. And what Sandra was talking about before, the Keystone Pipeline and energy independence, these are things women really care about because it's their kids that are on the line when we have to go get our, take care of foreign policy abroad and our sons and daughters go out. We care about these things. What is a woman's issue? Is it always about reproductive rights? I don't
Peter,
I
think Pelosi, I think she does make one point, which is I don't think that voters turned out in droves saying we love Republicans so much. However, how can she not concede even one shred of honesty?
We lost.
People voted against Democrats.
She might not be being dishonest. I mean, what's she supposed to say? She's been doing things the same way for decades, and she lives in a district where everybody keeps telling her overwhelmingly, "We like you. Just keep doing exactly that." And so she would have to really change the way that she's been doing business for the last 30 years.
You mean she would have to operate in reality?
Well, you can say that.
All right. Well,
I did just say that.
I got to tell you, at commercial breaks, we look at our Twitter accounts, and we are getting the tweets. All of you that want us to get to this conversation with Peter Ducey, who's sitting with us right in here. The interview that aired the past couple of nights, Fox News airing that remarkable two-part special, The Man Who Killed Osama bin Laden, and Our One Lucky Guy was right in the center of all of it. Peter Ducey spending many days getting the exclusive details from the former Navy SEAL Robert O'Neill. Here's O'Neill on firing the shots that killed the world's most wanted man.
And standing on 2 feet in front of me with his hands on his wife's shoulders behind her was the face that I'd seen thousands of times. It was UBL. Very quickly, but I recognized him, and then it was just pop, pop, pop.
Where did you shoot Osama bin Laden?
In the face 3 times.
Did he stagger at all?
He just fell by the left side of the bed.
How long from the second you saw him until he was laying dead at your feet?
It was less than a second. Probably half a second. Just walked in, saw him, shot him. He was a threat. He was He had to be wearing a suicide vest. That's a threat. I'm within my rules of engagement. He's not surrendering.
And how much time was there between shots?
I would guess, again, you know, the 2 shots are going to be just quick, bap, bap. And then the 3rd shot is however long it takes a person to fall on the floor. So I was standing above him when he took his last breath, and I heard it audibly.
Did Osama bin Laden say anything?
No.
Did you say anything?
Nothing, no. No, we met for a second, that's it.
Compelling interview, to say the least, Peter. This man is being hailed a warrior, a patriot, a hero. You got to sit down with him. What was it like?
He is all of those things. And it was, I mean, I was there for that at the suite in the Holiday Inn Express in Butte when we shot that this summer. And just still listening to that, it gives me chills. We've never had somebody come up and say, "Hi, my name is Rob. I met Osama bin Laden in his bedroom. I was not invited. And then I killed him." And you know, he says that he did this for now, after years, after keeping this big secret for years, because he found, after he told 9/11 families this summer what he did in the story, which happened to be the first time that he'd ever told a stranger what he did at this private ceremony when he was donating a piece of equipment from the raid, he thinks that it is his responsibility to give closure to those families where he can. Listen to this.
You killed the devil, and I believe that term.
That's the reason that we went, accepting death the way we did, because it wasn't for ourselves to get the big mission and have bragging rights. The reason that we left on the mission, knowing we're probably going to die, more than likely not come home, was for the single mom that went to work on Tuesday morning, and later that morning she made the conscious decision to jump to her death because it's better than burning alive. I thought that it would be irresponsible of me not to give everyone else closure, that it's over. And yes, there's personal risk to doing this, but I've accepted personal risk before because this is bigger than me. This is not about me.
And you know what? In texts and tweets, and I saw Mr. Zadroga this morning, he was on Fox and Friends, the closure part of this, the closure component to this story is real. And it seems like his coming forward and saying once and for all what really happened in the bedroom of the man who killed so many innocent Americans and innocent people around the world is really, it's real.
What do you make of the backlash that he's seeing today as a result of this for revealing the details of the raid that some people believe that he shouldn't have?
You know, in terms of the details of the raid, the only thing that he put out there in a very big way is that he was there. There have been movies that the administration cooperated with. There have been books. There have been magazine articles that some intimate details were leaked to. Rob is not going out there saying, you know, oh, we didn't take helicopters or it wasn't on the 3rd floor or anything like that. He's just saying, I was there, this is what it looked like, this is what it sounded like, because on 9/11, the most gripping thing every year is to hear the last phone calls or to watch that terrifying video of people burning up on the upper floors. But nobody knew what happened in bin Laden's bedroom until now.
And he does make it clear it was a team effort. I mean, there was a number of Navy SEALs there that night.
He knows he didn't get there in, you know, he's from Butte, Montana. He knows he didn't end up in Abbottabad on his own.
And they thought it was a one-way mission. They didn't think they were coming out of this alive.
But isn't the issue, to Sandra's point, though, that some of the Navy SEALs feel you're not supposed to reveal your identity, right? I mean, is this a violation of some code?
Well, you know, I think that people who watched the special, including some SEALs who I have spoken to that know Rob, say, I've known Rob for 10 years and I want to go shake his hand. Rob said last night, I asked him about this, what are you concerned about? Who's going to be upset? And he said, you can't do anything without without upsetting some people. So maybe some people are upset, but we're very proud of the 2 hours and what they say about the Navy SEALs, about this amazing feat.
Right.
You know, we got him after.
And by the way, you getting him is an amazing story as well. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Neil will be on with Bill O'Reilly this evening on the O'Reilly Factor.
And he is very excited about that.
Yeah, we're excited too.
All right. Well, great job, Peter.
Thank you.
The White House now threatening to bypass Congress again in an attempt to achieve a nuclear deal with Iran. This as some lawmakers warn reducing sanctions could make the country an even greater threat. And the word feminist is on a Times chopping block. Why the magazine says it should be banned for good.